Every afternoon at exactly 3 o'clock, a dog walks to the same spot outside a train station in Tokyo. He sits down. He watches the doors. Commuters pass by, umbrellas up, phones out, and the dog doesn't move. This has been happening for years, not weeks. Years. If you didn't know the story, you'd assume someone was coming home to him soon. Someone always used to. But the man this dog is waiting for died a long time ago. So here's the question that should bother you a little. Does the dog know that, or is he waiting for something else entirely? Something we don't really have a word for. We tell this story as loyalty. A dog too devoted to accept that his person is gone. It's a good story. It's also probably the wrong one. Here's what we're not accounting for. Dogs don't experience time the way we do. Not even close. When you say he's been waiting for 10 years, you're describing a number. 10. A unit stacked on other units, all the way back to a date on a calendar. A dog has never once needed to know what year it is. So what is he actually doing there at 3 o'clock, day after day? According to Alexandra Horowitz, who runs the dog cognition lab at Barnard College, the answer might start with the nose. Not the eyes, not some abstract sense of loss, the nose. Dogs smell time, she argues, and she means it literally. A scent laid down 5 minutes ago smells different from one laid down 5 hours ago. Stronger, fresher, closer. A dog walking through a room isn't just smelling what's there, he's smelling what used to be there, and roughly how long ago it left. Which means a dog's sense of waiting might not be memory the way you picture memory. It might be closer to reading a map that only exists in scent. A map that, for one specific person, never quite finishes redrawing itself. That reframes the whole question. Because if that's true, this was never really a story about loyalty. It's a story about a nose that never got the update. Here's where it gets specific. Horowitz's work on canine olfaction suggests dogs track scent the way we'd track a fading photograph. The more recent the source, the sharper the image. A dog following a trail actually moves from where the scent is weakest toward where it's strongest, because weak means old and strong means recent. In effect, a dog nose first is always walking backward through time, from the past into the present. Now stretch that idea across years instead of minutes. A dog who lived beside one person, who slept where that person slept, who tracked that person's scent trail through a house every single day, built something like an internal timeline made entirely out of smell. And unlike our timelines, his didn't come with a mechanism for the person simply stopping. There's a second layer here too, and it's less poetic. In 2016, researcher Claudia Fugaza and a research team in Hungary studied what's sometimes called episodic-like memory in dogs. The ability to recall one specific past event, not just a trained habit. Using a method called do as I do, they found dogs could remember and later reproduce an action they'd only seen once, even when they had no reason to expect they'd ever need to. That matters here because it suggests dogs aren't running purely on autopilot. Something closer to an actual memory, this happened, at this place, with this person, can sit there, waiting to be triggered. And then there's attachment. Dogs bond to specific individuals the same way human infants bond to a caregiver, not to people as a category. Separate a dog from that one person, and you get a measurable stress response, a change that doesn't show up the same way with a stranger. So it isn't that the dog can't tell his owner apart from everyone else. It's the opposite. He can tell the difference with total precision. He just has no internal category for gone forever. Only not yet. Which is why the routine never really breaks down on its own. Nothing inside him tells him to stop. But here's the complication, and it's worth sitting with. If scent were the whole story, this should have ended within weeks. Scent fades, fabric loses it, skin cells stop shedding onto a favorite chair. By any reasonable estimate, the specific smell of a person who died years ago should be long gone from a train station platform he only ever passed through. So something else is holding the routine in place. And the most likely answer isn't memory in the human sense at all. It's rhythm. 3 o'clock every day, for years, isn't a thought. It's a groove worn into a nervous system. Almost circadian, the way hunger arrives on schedule whether or not there's food coming. The walk to the station stopped being a choice a long time ago. It became the shape of the day itself, the way your body still tenses up at an alarm clock that's been unplugged for months. And here's the part that flips the whole question around. We assume the strange ones in this story are the dogs, devoted past the point of reason, unable to update. But we're the ones obsessed with updating. We're the ones who need an ending, a funeral, a date to mark before and after. so we can file the loss away and get back to the day. A dog doesn't need the ending. He just needs the routine to keep making sense. Think about what that actually looks like from the outside. Rain, most likely, some of those afternoons. Snow on the worst of them. Station workers changing over the years, new faces at the ticket gate who never knew the story, stepping around a dog who'd already outlasted 3 uniforms. And still, at 3 o'clock, there he was. Not because he remembered a date, because nothing had ever told him 3 o'clock was over. Which brings us to Capitan. In 2005, a German Shepherd mix showed up as a gift for a 13-year-old boy named Damien in the small Argentine town of Villa Carlos Paz. The dog belonged, more than anyone, to Damien's father, Miguel Guzman. A year later, in March 2006, Miguel died suddenly, and within days, Capitan was gone from the house too. Veronica, Miguel's widow, feared the worst. A dog loose near a highway rarely ends well. She searched the neighborhood, asked around, put up flyers. Nothing. Then, about a week later, she and Damien went to visit Miguel's grave at the municipal cemetery, roughly 15 blocks from the house. A place Capitan had never once been taken, in life or in death. He was already there, lying against the headstone. Nobody could explain how found it. The cemetery was miles from home, in a part of town Capitan didn't know, and Miguel's body had passed through a funeral home the dog had never seen. And yet, the family tried bringing him home. More than once. He'd stay a few hours, maybe an evening, and then he'd be gone again. Back across town, back to that exact patch of ground. Eventually, they stopped trying. The cemetery staff started feeding him, keeping his vaccinations current, treating him, without anyone officially deciding to, as one of their own. Every evening, at 6 o'clock, Capitan would lie down at that grave. Not most evenings. Every evening. For 12 years. He went blind near the end. His back legs gave out, and he could barely make the walk some days. And still, 6 o'clock, he'd be there. Locals in town started comparing him to a dog on the other side of the world, one who'd waited outside a train station in Japan. Nobody in Villa Carlos Paz had taught Capitan that story. He'd never heard of Hachiko. He was just doing on his own the same thing. In 2018, Capitan died at that same graveside, beside the man he'd apparently never stopped tracking. Nobody fed him a scent sample every day for over a decade to keep some trail alive. Whatever kept pulling him back to that 1 square meter of ground stopped being explainable as just a smell a long time before he died. Somewhere between the science and the mystery, this stops fitting neatly into a diagram. And maybe that's the actual finding here. Not that we've solved it, but that a dog can hold on to someone with a kind of precision our instrument still can't fully account for. So maybe the question was wrong from the start. It's not really, do animals remember us after we're gone? Hachiko and Capitan suggest something stranger. That for a dog, gone might not be a concept that exists at all. There's no folder in their mind labeled over. There's only the last version of the routine that made sense. Still, running, waiting for an update that isn't coming. Maybe that's not a flaw in how they think. Maybe it's just a different relationship with time than the one we settled for. One without an expiration date built in, which raises an uncomfortable question for the rest of us. We build calendars, funerals, anniversaries, entire systems whose only job is helping us accept an ending. We need the closure because without it, grief has nowhere to go. A dog doesn't have any of that machinery. He just has 3 o'clock, or 6 o'clock, and a patch of ground that still means something, long after the reason for it stopped showing up. Somewhere, right now, there's probably a dog doing exactly that, still waiting.